about the types of fast and the length or the duration of the fast. Before I get started, I would like to read this verse. In Psalms, David says, "My knees are weak through fasting. I am thin and I lack fat." David was not a part-time faster. David fasted often. He was fervent in fasting. He was somebody that was committed to fasting. And there's things that I'm going to share later on that David fasted, and the reasons he fasted. But he fasted often. He fasted consistently. If you are thin and lack fat from fasting, you have fasted a lot. So, it's something that has to become a lifestyle for us. It's something that we have to consistently desire to do, consistently work at, and consistently build up. We oftentimes are going to start a fast with a one-day fast. We're not going to often jump into a 40-day fast on our first time fasting. We'd be setting ourselves up for failure. Having never fasted, it's not going to be advisable to just jump into a 40-day fast. You probably should start with a one-day fast, build up to a 3-day fast, build up to a 5-day fast, and, maybe a 21-day fast before you jump into a 40-day fast. But if God calls you to a 40-day fast, by all means, he will provide you with the ability to do that. I remember my first 40-day fast, I felt it one day, and the next day I did it. And it was a liquids fast. It wasn't like water only. Don't get all scared or worried on me. But it was definitely something that I had never done before or undertaken before. And but it revolutionized my life. It changed my life. It completely changed me. And I'm thankful for that fast. Was it easy? No. Was it hard? Absolutely. A fast that is not hard probably isn't a fast. There comes a point in your fast where the flesh begins to die, and that fasting becomes a little easier. But there still will be the times that you're going to crave that food. You're going to hunger. Your stomach's going to rumble. Yes, my stomach rumbled. My stomach was growling. My stomach was hungry. You could hear it across the room. My kids would say, "Man, the neighbors, I'm surprised they haven't called." But it was definitely something, though, that was possible to do. I remember I went to weddings. I went to different family meetings that we had, different occasions that we had, and I maintain not eating, okay? It is possible to do. We can make every excuse in the book not to fast because it's not convenient, or it's not the right time, or we've got something going on, or there's a big occasion. Don't let those things stop you from this journey of fasting, because it is going to be something that will reward you in your life more than anything else. It's cutting the flesh. It's getting rid of us and living to the Spirit. And there's no better place to be. I know people will think that I'm strange to say that I love fasting, but I love, more than the fasting part of not having food, that's not what I love. I love the spirit of fasting. I love what happens during a fast. I love the closeness to God that I feel during a fast. All of these things are things that, can draw us into that lifestyle of fasting when we do it as unto God, when we do it with the right attitude. So the length of a fast, we can do anywhere from 1 to 40 days. A lot of times you hear people doing a 1-day fast, a 3-day fast, a 5-day fast, a 7-day fast, 10-day fast, 14, 21, 30, 40. You can do any length of day of fast. But I would suggest that when you start out with a 1 day. And some people honestly can't even make it a whole day, and they will have to modify that and maybe do 2 meals a day. Start with your breakfast and your lunch, and then eat supper. Don't eat anything else. And that's okay. You determine your fast, you determine what your fast is going to look like, and you stick to it. To me, I look at it as I've made a commitment to God. God, I'm going to fast. This is what I'm going to do. I often pray about my fast before I do it. And, try to get a picture of what it's going to look like. Sometimes it's just plop, this is what I want you to do. And then I start doing it. Or God will say, this is, gives me a time frame of when I'm going to do it. So we can start small. Don't set yourself up for big failures. Start yourself small and work up from there. It's a good idea to, try some of these small things. Try some of the 1-day fast. Get that down. If you can't accomplish a 1-day fast and you struggle with a 1 or 2-day fast, you're definitely going to struggle trying to do a 40-day fast. Okay. It's important for us to examine our heart. Like I said yesterday about the motive of our fast and how we're going to, enter into this fast. So, there's no rhyme or reason. There's no right or wrong. I will say this, that 1-day fast oftentimes are intended when you're starting out, it's great. It's going to excel. It's going to get you on track. It's going to help you to understand, the disciplines of fasting and dying to your flesh. But those extended fasts are the things that are truly going to be life changers. I believe that once you start fasting extendedly, that those 1-day fasts oftentimes become a maintenance fast to keep you in maintenance mode of staying out of the flesh, staying out of walking in the lust of the flesh, and walking in the spirit. When you start to feel sluggish, when you start to feel irritated easily, when you start to feel angry, or you start to feel fearful, or you start to feel sick even, that may be a time that you need to fast. And, you need to listen to what the Spirit's trying to tell you. It's all of those things are a result of the flesh. I know sometimes we think, well, sickness, how could that be a result of the flesh? But there's times that sickness can afflict our body because of a heart condition, a spiritual heart condition that's left inside of us. Unforgiveness can trigger many physical ailments in our body. Fear can trigger many physical ailments in our body. Anxiety can cause high blood pressure, for instance. So there's many things that we can realize through our emotions that, cha-ching, it's time to fast. Not to mention when we just, we need to do this perpetually. It needs to become a lifestyle. So on to our types of fast. There are several types of fast that you can do. One would be a complete fast with no water and no food. Now, this is going to be an extreme fast, okay? I have to be honest. I think the longest I've ever been able to do this is 2 days. It is intense. I do not understand. It was a supernatural thing how Moses was able to do this, how he was able to do that, how Elijah was able to do that. It's a supernatural thing when you can go 40 days without food or water. And the second kind is, and that should probably not be done over 3 days. Unless God calls you to do something extensive, you need to make sure you have the backing of your pastor to do that without food or water for longer than 3 days. The second one is water only. And, you can probably do this for several days. You could probably go 7 days. You will be weak. I would not suggest you doing this when you're working. I would suggest that you have time at home that you can just really lay before God. If you're going to do water only for 7 days, you will find yourself to be probably pretty tired. Same with the first fast. You may find yourself to be weak. So if you've got a heavy job, you may have to, figure out a time to do it when you can do it without having to work, or modify it a little bit. And there's lots of modifications that you can do with your fasting. You can add, the third kind is water only, and then you can add water, or add honey and lemon to your water, and that kind of gives you some energy factor as well. The fourth is a juice fast, which is no food, okay? No food. None of these are any food, okay? No food, only juice, no coffee, no sodas, no teas, unless it's an herbal tea if you really choose to do so. But this kind of a fast is... the juice is there to give you some energy, to give you some nutrients. And that is a fast that honestly can be done for a lengthy period of time. If you're getting juice, you could probably make it for 40 days, give or take, depending on your body and your level of activity. The fifth one is a combination fast, which is a combination of like doing water for 3 days, strictly water. And then on the fourth day, having some juice. And then going back to doing water and then having juice. That is something that, you can do for an extended period of time as well as your body sees fit. The thing I want you to understand is you have to pay attention to your body. If you are feeling very weak and very tired, pray about it. God, what can I do? I want to make my fast. I want to make it happen. And, it may be that you need to have some juice on a water fast only. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that you failed. That means that you're going to gain some energy to continue on in your fast. Don't let a slight seemingly setback discourage you from fasting. Having a glass of juice is way better than going out and having a steak, okay, and ending your fast. Having a glass of juice from a water fast only is going to just give you the energy you need to keep going, and then pick right back up with your water fast. So the next kind of fast is the Daniel fast, the Daniel 10-day fast, which he had pulse, which was grains, lentils, and basic vegetables and water. Now, with these next two fasts that include food, I'm not a huge proponent of these. Okay, I'm not a huge lover of these things for myself personally, because I have done the Daniel fast, which is the next one I'm going to talk about, was a 21-day fast, and it was no bread, desserts, juices, meat, or fruit. These two fasts are food, okay? The problem I have with these is that when I did these, I paid more attention to thinking about food the entire fast, trying to figure out what I could or could not eat. Reading labels, it consumed my thinking. It left no room for consumption for God. So these particular two fasts are things that you need to probably really figure out before you start your fast, because you have a menu, if you will, of what you're going to do so that you are not consumed with it during your fast, because that's taken away from every effort that you're trying to accomplish of getting close to God and, taking your mind off of the food, off of the natural. The other thing is that with these food fasts, it's not to fill your belly. It's not to enjoy it. It should not be an enjoyable process. It's not to say, I'm going to get full on a bunch of vegetables. No, that kind of negates the purpose of a fast. Our purpose of a fast is to be hungry. We are to be hungry in the natural, which causes us to hunger for the things of the spiritual, to hunger for God. So, so with those two things, I'm very hesitant. To me, those are great. If you're a healthy person, I don't suggest you doing these two fasts personally. You have to have willpower, and you have to say no to food. If you're somebody that has an underlying health condition, then I would say these are fine in moderation. Like I said, don't gorge yourself out on food, because that's defeating the purpose. So the next one is like water for 3 days, and then broth on the 4th day, and then cycle that through and do water for 2 days and broth again. And you can do that, and rotate that through as long as your body is responding to that well. At any given time during these kinds of fasts, it's okay if you are weak and you feel like you're going to pass out, take something in, okay? Reset, take something in, and just get right back on your fast. Fasting is not intended to make you feel guilty if you fail. Fasting is not intended to make you feel like you've not done what somebody else could do. Fasting is really something between you and God, nobody else. It's not something, now I know oftentimes we can talk to a friend about it, but, of our past experiences, but in no way should we try to make somebody else feel bad because they are not able to fast like you are, or, they didn't finish their fast, or, they had to eat something during their fast because they were weak and they felt like they were going to pass out. Again, if you're pregnant, the Daniel fast would be a perfect fast for somebody that is pregnant. So another fast is from sun up to sundown. From sundown to sundown is a fast that you could do. Like if you started at 6 o'clock at night and went till 6 o'clock the next day, that would be a 24-hour period of fasting. And so that is another kind of fast that you could do. Fasting 2 meals in a row and eating supper and then no snacks. I know I've encouraged my kids with this kind of a fast because when you go to school, it's kind of difficult, to go without food all day long. Or like with Brenna, she's fasted to where she's given up certain food groups. Her specialty things that she loves, like fish crackers and no snacks. She's done that before. And there's times that she's given up meals as well. So you have to have your kids to obviously talk to you about what they're going to do and, work it out as a family. But there are ways to get your kids involved in fasting as well. But what the most important thing is that what you're doing on your fast, it should not be pleasantry. If you're looking to please your taste buds, you're probably doing this the wrong way. It's not supposed to be intended to be pleasant. At the same time, when we're on our fast, we're not supposed to seek pleasures. We're not supposed to partake in the things that we normally would do that would be pleasurable to us. So I want to encourage you that, there's specialized fasting, like I was talking about, giving up certain food groups. And if you're diabetic, for instance, you may try juice. If the juice is not working alone, then add in some bread, some bland bread to keep your sugars going. There's ways around things. There's options that you can do with underlying health conditions. So I want to encourage you that fasting should be a sacrifice. It should be hard. It should be hard. It's not an easy thing. Crucifying our flesh is not an easy thing. And you should crave things on your fast. You should crave that chocolate. You should crave that coffee. You should crave that food. Not that you're going to be consumed by the thought of it, but your tummy should rumble. Okay. You should have some pain in this fast. Okay. Because, we crave sin. We crave to live in a sinful nature. Our sinful nature craves sin, and we have to crucify that. So we have to crave the things of God. When our body starts to crave food, we need to say, no, I'm going to crave the things of God, and begin to look into the Word of God, look into prayer, and, fasten your eyes, fasten your mindset upon Him. I want to leave you with one last thought. And sometimes you may say, well, this sounds difficult. And when you get into a fast, you may feel a little overwhelmed at first, but it is a mindset, and it is something that you can do. I believe in you. I love food. If I can do it, you can do it. But the Muslims, okay, they will fast at Ramadan. Okay, they will fast, and they will fast for 30 days. Mom, dad, boys and girls, the children alike, they fast. They fast from sunup to sundown. And in the evening, they come together. They pray to Allah, whom is dead. They talk about the spiritual things, and they commit themselves to this. And people all around the world are doing this at the same time. That's powerful in and of itself. But what are we as Christians? What are we willing to do as a group coming together? We say, no, it's too hard. The Satanists do it. Nope, it's too hard for us as Christians. We ought not to have that mentality that it's too hard. I want to encourage you today, set your mind that I want to be a faster. I want to have a lifestyle of fasting. Ask God to help you. I know that you can do this. Go get it. Let's start fasting.